Okay, we have the final match here. We got Craig Jones, Gregor Gracie. Um, haven't seen a lot of Gregor Gracie matches lately. I've watched quite a bit of Craig Jones more recently. But yeah, let's get started on this last matchup. So far, I think it's been mostly a draw between these two teams. So we'll get started here. If you haven't clicked on the link in the description where you can join the Sweet Science of Fighting Underground and get access to all the strength and conditioning programs, and also you can submit footage to be broken down. So let's get started here. I suspect we'll see a little bit of wrestling, maybe some judo. Good, right there. Right off the bat. This is a pretty good strategy. Just kind of trying to get to jump over to get over the person's head to get to a headlock position. I first saw this used many years ago, very consistently with Gary Tunham would do this over and over and over. I think maybe Jeff Glover was using this a little bit too back several years ago. But it's a very good tactic. Just when you leave your feet off the ground, you just got to be careful because if the guy drops his level, he could end up some wrestling position, maybe single or double. But right there. Okay, so here's a good position here. Collar tie, went for a foot sweep here, kicked the leg out to unbalance. And then Gregor went in maybe for a body lock. Craig countered with the underhook here. Again, Craig's trying to get over top of the head and drag him down to guard. This is good. Maybe trying for a guillotine there for a second. Okay. We're in this kind of open half position. I've seen Craig use this a lot over the years. He was using Z-guard for a long time, very successfully. Gregor did good there. He kind of has his hand weaved between the legs. He's just going to drop the hip to try to pass. But Craig's going to go inverted here. Kind of reset. Craig's in full guard technically. I like this anchor he has right here on the leg. He's using this kind of like as just has a bit of a threat here. He's really anchoring in to pull this leg up so that the leg can't actually. This does several things, but one of the things it does is it connects his leg to the back of his hamstring here. Can't really get the knee up to really start to go into a knee ride positions and things like that. At least for the moment. He can also set up some sweeps and things like that here. But like Gregor has a grip on the toes here, keeping the feet open. He did have Gregor had a overhook on the side over here. Could enter in a leg lock position. I don't see him maybe going here to enter into a leg lock. Craig does have an inside position here with his foot, so maybe not such a. But he did have a pretty good grip on the leg there. Craig just finds away. They're back up. A hand fighting, collar tie, hanging on the neck. Okay, so Craig's, you notice his hips here. He's trying to turning his hips to get an angle. He's got a hold of the cross arm here. Gregor has an underhook, so this will be really interesting. If these guys start getting hip to hip here, we're going to see some judo action. So we have right now, you see off the bat, you have a whizzer. Craig had a whizzer there. We got the underhook. But, Craig has a slight advantage here because he has the arm here, the cross arm here. But right there, oh, that was nice. Let's see that again. So it's really interesting to watch this position because just want to see that again. As soon as you see the angle start to turn here and they start to get side to side, this can go either way, to be honest. I mean, you can Uchimata with an underhook or a whizzer, okay? You can also do a little bit of that hip toss there. This is usually the person who has a hold of the arm here, the cross arm, is going to have an advantage, certainly in these Uchimata positions. But you can see, watch Gregor's right leg here. It actually reaches in front and goes across Craig's body. And Craig, he just didn't get he needed his leg to be center between Gregor's legs. But see, Gregor beat him to the punch here. Craig's leg didn't step in between the legs, and then Gregor's leg stepped across the body. So now this is going to be a pretty bad toss. Boom, and that was really nice. That was very very well done, very well timed, right into side control. It was great. Craig is getting up on the elbow, not conceding to the ground. And right off the bat, Craig got up to the elbow. Now that he can get up to the elbow, he can start to slide this bottom leg in. He does have a grip around the hip. And he's standing back up, which is great. Stood back up. And that, I mean, honestly, that took a little bit of energy to do that. Honestly, I would say that if you know, me trying to, or other guys, you know, trying to just stand up with somebody, you know, pressuring in like that took some, certainly a lot of technique, but a certain level of conditioning as well. He definitely spent some energy on that. So right off the bat, we got an underhook on the leg here. Maybe looking for maybe a false reap with the left leg. He's going into a bit of a reverse de la Riva position. Shin on shin. Gregor had a shin on shin there for a second. Craig passed the leg over. Craig just slid into the inside position, and he has a body lock now. And so this is going to be a bit of a rough ride. You know, I'm actually surprised that unless something happens next, I haven't seen this, but if I'm actually really surprised that Craig was able to get to the inside position that easily, especially with his knee in this position here. You know, if you notice, Gregor's knee's on the outside here. That's going to be more of the mount. And now Greg's just going to tripod and staple the chest, staple Gregor's back to the mat here, get him flat. Gregor is trying to fight the foot battle down here. So Craig's already won the upper body battle, getting chest to chest. Now Gregor's trying to win the lower body battle. We're going to may see some windshield wiping of the legs here. But Gregor is doing a good job because, you know, he does have this hook. So I can't see what's happening on the other side. But if he does get the left hook in, then he'll be okay. He can start to extend Craig out here. And plus he has an underhook on this side. So position's not as bad as I thought it was. I thought Craig had 2 double unders, which have probably been a worse position than this. But you know, Gregor has an underhook, and he has a hook certainly on this side. He may have it on the other side as well. There, so you see that just it simply counters the body lock position here. And you know, Gregor's doing a good job. He's sitting up. You know, he's trying to sit up into the position. He's not laying flat. Craig goes back to a pinning, try to get chest-to-chest connection to see if he can pin past this. Okay, so the left leg of Gregor's on the outside, so this is not that great. And he just has this butterfly hook. This butterfly hook is actually what's saving him here, to be honest. He does have the inside position right here on Craig with his right arm, but really it's this hook. That's going to be the problem. If Craig can get over that hook, then he'll be all right. So we just get to half guard. Gregor's now going to depend on this underhook and that half guard to start to regain some position, which he did. And now he pushes away, trying to create some distance and possibly stand up. Craig follows him through to keep that pressure going forward. And this is really good. If Craig did not continue to push that pressure going forward, Gregor could have created the distance and stood back up. This is the problem we see a lot, even in some of these matches. A perfect example, Owen and Nicky Rod, the first match, in this quintet, you saw that Owen wasn't really pushing forward to really continue putting the pressure down with the person playing the guard to really commit to try to passing, and he was a bit of a neutral position, and he kept getting Nicky Rogers kept standing up and sitting and then standing up to a wrestle, to a singles and doubles and all that, and but Craig follows the position. He keeps putting that pressure in. So now we have 2 butterfly hooks. Gregor has 2 butterflies here. Got a grip on the leg. And Craig's just kind of playing this riding position. He's kind of like riding the legs here a little bit, doing a little bit of his floating passing. I always say floating passing, riding the legs and all this stuff. These are great strategies for these very open, active guards. You just have to be very, very good at doing this because you can run into a lot of if you're not good at this at this type of riding position or float passing, you can certainly put yourself in some danger of sweeps and especially leg locks and things like that. So not an easy thing to do. So he's dropping his left hip here. He's trying to possibly free the right leg, keeping that pressure down. And if you notice here, I'm going to say this again, when you're watching this type of passing, if Craig was actually being stiff here, if his hips were stiff and his legs were stiff and all this, Any kind of movement that Gregor did on the bottom with his guard is going to really move Craig around. But because Craig is playing this lazy hip kind of thing, he's certainly putting pressure in, and he's definitely fighting the position and dropping his hips. But there's this kind of laziness, this wet blanket type of passing that makes it difficult to move the person on top, especially someone who's very skilled and knows how to shift their weight and windshield wiper and fight with the upper body and all this stuff. It definitely, when I roll with advanced guys, there's a difference with rolling with advanced guys and then like these elite guys. This is what they do. Like they train, 3-4 times a day. There's a big difference in this in the passing and the techniques that the way they implement them. It's very energy efficient. And you notice, typically if you had 2 butterfly hooks, Craig is just kind of wading into this, right? He's getting that chest connection. He's being kind of a lazy riding position here. And normally you would see guys getting swept here, but because Craig is staying kind of loose on top with his hips, it's going to be hard to move him. And you can see now they got Craig. Craig has lost all inside position. Gregor has a hook on this side, underhook on this side. He has 2 butterfly hooks, and now Craig is going to stand up to a tripod position to break that inside position that Gregor had obtained. And now he can start to hand fight again. And this is very exhausting for the person on bottom. It doesn't have to be too exhausting for the person on bottom, but you definitely have to stay active as the person on bottom, because as long as Craig just keeps pressing this constant pressure, it's gonna, if you're using too much energy on bottom, you're gonna get drained really fast. So he just kind of just plops down. Honestly, this type of passing is much more difficult to deal with than really just hard pressure, knee riding, just direct stiff pressure. That's also difficult to deal with, but again, if you move, your guards can actually work technically a little bit better if you're good at your guards, because you can move the whole body. This loose kind of passing can be very, very tiring. And Craig is very leg lock savvy, obviously. So, Gregor has to be very careful that, Craig doesn't start to produce back steps from these positions. Gregor's posting on the hip here, trying to create some distance, creating frames. I mean, all the guard work is fine here. It's just, just trying to, this is going to wear the person down. I like that Gregor, she's trying to come forward. As soon as Craig retracts, Gregor comes forward, and it forces Craig to come back and drive forward. We have a little bit of a reverse De La Riva here. You can see that Gregor has a reverse De La Riva. He's holding the heel. There's different grips for reverse De La Riva. This is certainly a grip you can actually use. It's cupping the heel. As long as he denies Craig's right knee, as long as he denies that knee from hitting the ground, then essentially he has Craig is on his body, not on the floor. So he can actually start to use De La Riva technically to actually move Craig around and start to maybe possibly go to inversions, kiss of the dragon, leg locks, and all that. I like this frame he has here. He's creating a good frame. Left leg starting to post on the hip. Again, he's digging the inside position. Craig is using the cross face here to keep him down. Got a right elbow on the hip here to keep that pressure going down. Very wide base with the leg out here. All right, so go back to the cross face. Got the frames. So Craig's now blocking the hip he blocked the hip so the shrimping, so he can't shrimp, and he's now moving into north-south position. Craig fully passed. Gregor recovered his guard, maybe possibly going into a leg position. Craig kind of limp-legged out of that. Keep pressing forward. They're going to reset the position to the middle. This is good. I like this match. This is very good. That head wrap is amazing. I can't believe it stayed on the whole time for Owen. All right, so we're going back into the same position. And notice, just notice this frame. Gregor has a good kickstand here with his right hand on the knee, so that his knee doesn't get pinned to the ground, and make it easier for Craig to start to do knee right passes and switch his hips and start to go in this direction. If he can keep a kickstand here on his leg, this prevents his knee from going down and kind of it prevents Craig from getting that angle that could produce some passing. But now again, Craig is really doing this in tripod position, trying to get to chest connection. This forces, if he wins the top position, this forces Gregor to focus on the feet, on the leg position. And now, as you can see, Craig, if you couldn't see it, you can see it for a second. Craig is windshield wipering there to pass, and he did. So he windshield wipered his legs, got to the pass. Now he's going to this knee on belly position with a possible back attack. And Gregor recognizes this, so he goes back to flat. If Gregor would have stayed on the side there, Craig could have potentially took his back. So good cross face pressure here. Okay, Craig's really stepping up on this leg, dropping his hip to the left, and this is putting a lot of pressure on his cross face. He's like go the cross face to switch over to possibly attack the arm. Now he's going north south. He switched his right arm to the other side. This blocks the shrimp, and from Gregor from facing him. And now he's going to move to north south or quarter side. So he didn't. He actually decided to actually drop the hip and go into a bit of a reverse queso position. Let's see what he does with the arm here to see if he sticks it under the neck. And so so that's why Gregor really exploded there, because if Craig got his arm under the neck there, he could start to produce north south chokes, darces, and all that. So he had to bridge up and get out of that. We're going back to a crossface, back to a top position. He's blocking the hip again. Block that hip and go into north-south position. This is a good strategy. Whenever you get somebody that's really good at retaining guard, it's really in your best interest to take that right hand, block the hip so that they can't get the retention, and start to move to quarter side control or north-south. And then from there, you can switch to the other side of the body or come back to the same side of the body, but you can keep resetting the position like this. And in the meantime, you can also start throwing attacks. So now, when you go to north-south position, one of the things you sacrifice is control of your opponent's hips. So Gregor's hips can move left and right, and he can start to produce some pendulums, possibly to start to move to retain his guard. And he did that. He's kind of swung his legs a little bit there. We couldn't really see it, but then he got back to this inside position, retained his guard. Again, he goes back to this reverse de la Riva with the actual heel, the cupping of the heel grip. It went kind of inverted here. There could have been a leg attack there, or possibly going to the back attack. This is impressive. I mean, he's literally doing the splits here. It's not a technique for me, and probably a lot of other people, but it's not a great position either, because you're split up here. Good. So reset. Craig just keeps dropping that leg. He turns that corner, just drops that leg. It looks like that Gregor wants to go to the leg. He's grabbing with both arms, but he can't get his legs laced over Craig's legs to produce anything. Again, Craig drops his hips to the right here. And this is, Gregor is just kind of holding on at this point. He's going to get passed again. So he got passed again with the same pass. Again, Craig takes the arm, blocks the hip. He's going to move north-south. Gregor could possibly go to turtle here, but he's going to get flattened again. And this is going to be tiring for Gregor on the bottom. I mean, he's he's basically defending this whole time. Okay, there's a body lock on the hip there. Gregor's trying to go to turtle here, turn his hips. And he makes it. Nope. That was good. He tried to shoot it for an armbar, a quick armbar there. That was slick, but no control. It was just, it was a good shot though. Again, here, if his leg was in between, this could be in a decent K guard position. Craig's already going to be controlling Gregor's right leg here, probably grabbing the foot to prevent that leg from getting thrown over and around. But this position, Greg is really good using this to pin his Gregor that leg to the ground. And what this position is now is like a bit of a de la Riva position. It's a modified de la Riva. He has an underhook for the de la Riva, and he's kind of going to the right here. This does trap Craig's leg into this position. He can't necessarily start to produce a pass per se. He needs to free his leg. And with this underhook, you can do this with reverse de la Riva and regular de la Riva, this underhook grip. So this does cause a problem. But, Craig's knee is actually it's already kind of passed, and he's kind of going knee on chest here. So this is going to make Gregor work on bottom a lot more. And, if Gregor can get Craig tilted over here to the right, this de la Riva could probably start to produce something. And Craig just goes directly at addressing the grip, pushes the leg open. This is going to break the grip. Again, Gregor does a good job going to trying to get the inside position. Try to do a little bit of a wrestle up here attempt, but Craig just keeps pressing forward. And trying to push away, possibly to stand up. So Craig is really riding the legs here and pinning that bottom leg to the ground. Okay, so now we're getting a bit of a cradle position. And opted from cradle. It looks like Craig's left arm is now possibly going over for Darce. So now you're entering into a Darce. When you have a Darce, you have a guillotine and an anaconda. Yeah, those are the three that kind of go together. You also have neckties and things like that. Got 2 minutes here. So Craig's going to regular side control here, but he has a grip around the neck. There's a bit of arm isolation here, which is interesting. Yeah, this is a bit of a neck cranking position. Craig can start to go back here. It's almost like a Kesa position, but like a neck cranking kind of Kesa position, but it's not Kesa, obviously, but he can start to produce a pretty bad neck crank. Okay, kind of let that go. Going back to north-south, blocking the hip with his left hand. Got balls in the face. It's terrible. And he put his face in his balls, so it's even worse. So now we're going north-south again. Block the hips. Okay, got to his guard, seated guard. Craig is really going forward, not allowing Gregor to get up and to wrestle up. This is good. The power of butt scooting. So, yeah, kind of butt scooted off the mat there. Now, Gregor looks okay. I mean, he doesn't look like he spent too much energy. It's good. Okay, I like this position. He's got a shin on shin on this side. Got a grip on the leg here. And got a nice butterfly and got an inside position. Not bad. But again, Craig is just really good at pinning the legs, playing loose hips here. Dropping the hips in. Really pushing the passing. Uh-oh. So we got to watch out for a leg lock here. Craig stepped that knee through, and now he's going to enter into legs. Okay, this is good. The reason why Craig is grabbing this cross leg here is it's going to kind of lock Gregor into this position. He's going to pull this toe towards and go into a toe hold position. If he's not careful, this could be a toe hold. But I would say Craig's usually I would say he could submit somebody there, but he's using it as a bit of a connection to maybe it looks like he may want the right leg instead. Because Gregor's right leg was the leg that was actually between his legs. That was a good attempt. Look at the foot stomp here. Foot stomp on the thigh, and just to get a split second ahead of the pass. This was something that everybody was doing to me a couple of years ago. Like every single roll I had, everybody was stomping on my leg. Still a valid move. Still works. Just don't see it all the time. Good elevation. Okay, concedes to this half guard. Okay, now he's looking a little tired. Could get the gut cross face. Get the hips in. Got 22 seconds. Okay, he's going for like a little Ezekiel here type position. Possibly punch choke. I'd be surprised if he gets this. This would be interesting. Oh, he's shaking his finger no? Oh, okay. Shook his finger no. That means I guess he's not going to get it. No, shook his finger no. There it is. He's not going to get it. All right, then. So I guess this is a draw between the two teams. Guess we'll see. So I'm gonna let's see. Yep, it's a draw. Okay, well, lawnmower, cool. All right, so I think that ends up being a draw, unless there's some sort of overtime. Oh, there is an overtime. There's an overtime on the last match. I mean, on the last, or no. I'm sorry. Oh, so the B team wins. I guess it goes to some sort of decision. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't look at. Honestly, I haven't looked at the rule set. I just started watching the fights because I didn't look at the actual rule set here. So I guess they won by decision. I mean, clearly, if it was went to judges on that, Craig clearly won that matchup. So that was good. I don't think there were any submissions in this between these two teams. So, I mean, I suppose fairly evenly matched. I think that if you went to points and you went to judges, I would say definitely the Bulls, the B team, won. But very competitive and very consistent. You'll see patterns in the game here. If you watch these, the breakdown for all of these, you'll see these very consistent patterns. So we'll start with the next quintet. I know there were some other ones that teams that are coming up that are on this same venue. So, all right, we'll start the next one soon.